The year is 2025 and competitive Pokemon is at its all-time high, but despite the higher interest and more competition appearing at every event, how easy is it to actually create a team to, well, compete? I've always enjoyed watching VGC and I've always wondered how difficult it actually is to build a team, adjust to the metagame, and actually compete. Back in X and Y's era, I did actually try to create a weird Mega Gengar team build, but it never went anywhere. But with the recent announcement of Pokemon Champions coming out next year, and with all the quality of life features that have been added into the game since, I thought it might be time to go back and see how easy it is to create a team now. First of all, I have no idea what I'm doing, or even what team to create. So after browsing around the internet for a good beginner team to try out, I found a few recommendations for a Miraidon Calyrex Ice Rider team, and decided that's what we'll try and build. The team consists of Miraidon, Calyrex Ice Rider, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Grimmsnarl, Landorus Incarnate, and Incineroar. I suppose we should start with obtaining the easiest of all of them, and that is of course Grimmsnarl. They can be caught in either Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet, but since the competitive scene is within Scarlet and Violet, it makes more sense to hunt one in this game. So to Tag Grief Thicket we go and catch ourselves a wild Impidimp. So I should probably go over it here, but I'm not actually going to worry about catching Pokemon with perfect IVs, mainly because I don't know the best way to go around it, and unless you're competing in some sort of big events, from what I've seen it's not vital, at least the level which I will probably be playing at. With our Impidimp now in hand, all that's left is to get them to level 50, evolving them into Grimmsnarl in the process. Our next team member we'll be collecting is none other than Incineroar. The best game to catch Incin is within Scarlet and Violet, within DLC 2 of the Indigo Disc. Within the Indigo Disc there is an additional currency created called Blueberry Points, which you're able to collect by performing certain actions around the terrarium. Once 3000 Blueberry Points have been acquired, we can then spend these to allow starter Pokemon to spawn in one of the 4 different biomes. To catch ourselves a Litten, we need to select the Canyon biome. However, I do have an issue here. I have barely touched DLC 2 and have nowhere near enough points, and it can take quite a long while to get enough. But luckily enough, on my save I do have a workaround, and that is all thanks to taking part in the mighty raid for Incineroar back in September 2024. So all that's now left to do is breed our Incin for a Litten, and level them to 50 for our second team member. Sticking with Scarlet and Violet, Miraidon is next on our hit list. In order to catch Miraidon, we first need to complete the whole main story of Pokemon Violet. Luckily enough, I have recently completed another playthrough of Violet, using only Route 1 Pokemon, and never actually got around to catching Miraidon at the end. So making our way back down to Area 0, we encounter Miraidon and waste no time by throwing a Master Ball their way. With half of the team now formed, we do need to switch games to collect the other 3. So onwards to Sword and Shield we go. Well, more specifically, we need to enter the DLC of both the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. To start with, we'll go and collect Urshifu Rapid Strike. Despite them being as powerful as they are, we're actually able to get them pretty early on into the game, as all we have to do is progress up to being able to start the gym challenges in the main story, and then make our way back down to Wedgehurst Station to travel over to the Isle of Armor. Once then, all we have to do is progress through the DLC story until we are gifted a Cubfu, build up our friendship with them, and then make our way to the Water Tower, defeat Master Mustard at the top of the tower, to then gain the ability to evolve Cubfu into Urshifu Rapid Strike, our 4th team member. Making our way back to Wedgehurst Station once more, we can then take another train to DLC 2 of the Crown Tundra, for the last 2 members needed. First up we have Landorus. One of the big things that DLC 2 added was Dynamax Adventures. Partaking in this activity, we are actually able to catch pretty much every legendary added into the game up to this generation, with there being some exclusives to each game. Luckily enough, the one we are hunting for of Landorus can be found in either game. Since you can only find one legendary each run, and we either have to wipe or clear the dungeon to hunt for the next, it does take a few attempts until we roll Landorus. But once we reach the end of the dungeon, we defeat them in their Dynamax form, throw a Pokeball their way, and catch them for our 5th member of the team. The final Pokemon we have left to catch is Calyrex Ice Rider. Similar to Urshifu, all we have to do is follow a long storyline to catch them. Once more, it's found within the Crown Tundra, and the storyline we follow is the sacred bonds of the Sovereign and Steed. It's a fairly linear and easy progression, and the only part of note is selecting the location to grow the carrot. We need to make sure to choose the snowy area as that spawns Glacier instead of Spectria. Probably said their names wrong. Right when we reach the end of the story, we are able to catch Calyrex and save no time by throwing a Master Ball their way for our last team member. With everyone now collected, we move them all over onto my main save of Violet. We make our way to the auction house for the Reigns of Unity to link Calyrex and Glacierite into Calyrex Ice Rider. And with them now linked, we make our way to a Pokemon Center for the TM machine to re-remember and learn new moves needed. For Miraidon, their moveset is Electro Drift, Volt Switch, Draco Meteor and Dazzling Gleam. Calyrex Ice, we have Glacial Lance, Leech Seed, Trick Room and Protect. Urshifu Rapid is Rocking Surging Strikes, Close Combat, Coaching and U-Turn. Grimmsnarl has a very supportive moveset of Spirit Break, Thunder Wave, Reflect and Light Screen. Landorus's moveset consists of Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, Taunt and Protect. And finally Incineroar will be running Flare Blitz, Knock Off, U-Turn and Fake Out. With our movesets now in place, we make our way to the restaurant and gym in Medalia to give each of the members their needed Terra typing. Fairy Miraidon, Water Calyrex Ice, Water Urshifu Rapid Strike, Ghost Grimmsnarl, Poison Landorus and Grass Incineroar. Before we go on to the next step of EV training, we first need to sort out their abilities. Luckily enough, we only need to change a few of them, bringing Grimmsnarls to Prankster, and both Landorus and Incineroar supporting their hidden abilities of Sheer Force and Intimidate respectively. And with that out of the way, it's time to do some EV training. Initially I was going to go around knocking out Pokemon for the correct EVs, but since money isn't actually too bad to obtain, especially when there's special Terra raids going on, we decided to buy all the vitamins and mints needed to EV train and change their natures. Starting off with Miraidon, a timid nature with 4 points going into HP and 252 going into both special attack and speed. Calyrex Ice has a relaxed nature with 252 points in HP, 100 in defense and 156 in special defense. Urshifu Rapid Strike has an adamant nature with a very similar stat spread to Miraidon with 4 in HP, 252 in speed, but this time instead of special attack they have 252 in attack. Grimmsnarl has a careful nature with 236 points in HP, 4 in attack, 140 in defense, 116 in special defense and 12 in speed. Landorus has a timid nature with 84 in HP, 36 in defense, 236 in special attack, 4 in special defense and 148 in speed. And finally for Incineroar, who has an impish nature, they have 252 points in HP, 4 in attack, 188 in defense, 60 in special defense and 4 in speed. And now for the last step of giving everyone their items. Miraidon, Choice Specs, Calyrex Ice, Leftovers, Urshifu Rapid Strike, a Choice Scarf, Grimmsnarl, Light Clay, Landorus, Life Orb, and Incineroar, an Assault Vest. And with that, the team is finished. So all it takes to get a viable competitive team in 2025 is a Switch system, a copy of either Sword or Shield, plus their DLCs, and a copy of either Scarlet or Violet, plus their DLCs. So it's still fairly expensive to get into it. Hopefully when Pokemon Champions comes out next year, the cost will drastically decrease, allowing more people to easily get involved, and who knows, maybe I'll get more involved than what I am. So now our team is built, I suppose it's time to try it out and actually learn VGC. But that will be for another day, and maybe another video, as this is mainly supporting how easy it is to actually build a team. If you want to try out this team for yourself, I have put it in the rental system for anyone interested, and there'll be a code in the description as well. And as I said, I'm not that well versed in knowing how to compete in VGC or even play the game properly, so if anyone's got any tips, feel free to leave them down below and I'll be sure to read through every single one. But that is it, the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Feel free to leave a like, a comment or subscription. I know everyone does say it, but it really does help out the video a lot. But once again, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.